Hey everybody, today on the Warhammer Community Site we got some information about how to build a battle-forged army in Warhammer 40k 8th edition. Please subscribe, comment, and like this channel if you haven't already. The discussion between everyone's been really cool to read and take part in. I think this is kind of a nice little area of YouTube that we can actually discuss some of this stuff rationally, because there's a lot of change out there and people don't necessarily like to be changed. That's the way the saying goes. But on the community site, we got an example of how to build a Dark Eldar army, and it even has some army roster sheets kind of mocked up there for us to see for 1,000 points. Now, this changes things a bit. The way you build armies now seems like it's moving in a different direction, and I want to talk about the command points too. Filling out those detachments that we've seen to get the 3 command points, the bonus 9 command points. I mean, it just seems really hard to get a lot of command points to use on stratagems. And so even filling out a battle-forged army where you have to pay points, we can see that the points kind of go kind of quickly, even in this 1,000 point list that they have. So getting to those, filling out those detachments to get those large number of command points, I think is going to be a real struggle. I've said this before on the podcast, but I think that average number of command points people are going to get are going to be in the 4 to 5. So even these big swings from things and stratagems, even if there's missions with stratagems, they're not going to be firing them off every turn. There's going to be another real level of strategic play about when to use those. So back on the army list topic though, it seems like units are going to come with a certain amount of basic war gear that may not cost any points. They're standard stuff. But then for this more exotic things, like I guess the weapons, they don't really say exactly what it is in the other, but I'm assuming things like the Dark Lances and the Blasters or whatever, you're going to have to pay for. And so what it seems like making an army list might be easy, seems going for easier for me, is maybe I pick a squad that I like, and first I add up what all the war gear is going to be, then I buy the models for the squad to see if it's going to fit within those kind of groupings for me, I guess, to maximize the detachments in case command points end up being something I think I'm going to need, whether that be to complete the missions or whatever. And this is all for match play and scoring objectives, completing those missions, which of course we don't know what the full breadth of those are going to be, other than the fact we're getting a revamped, was probably a Maelstrom type deck. But if you're playing in an event that doesn't use that, and it just has more what I would call traditional objectives now, progressives or some end of turns or what have you, you're really I probably want to have units that can do that. But if you get trapped into spending all these points on the extra war gear, it's going to limit the number of units you have. That's old school stuff, but I think this has given us an opportunity to really kind of reevaluate what is a must-have, what is a nice-to-have with our units. I know that I've been building the Sanguinary Guard personally, and I know that Power Fists are going to cost a lot of points, or at least I'm assuming they're going to cost a bunch of points, based on history. And so, how many of those do I want to put on the models? Because I love to build on the speculation. That's what I'm doing right now. And things like, a power sword, power axes, we're all hot on them. So, but how many of those do I put in an army? Do I build my Dark Eldar squads out with only one weapon? Do I go for the Dark Lance like my Guardians? Do I spend a lot of time putting together some of these weapons platform stuff? How's that going to fit in the armor? We don't know yet, so it's real hard to say, but as we start to see it develop, I think there is going to be a lot of decisions that are made in the army list section that we weren't thinking about before, which is good for the game. Any type of change like this that does kind of equal out the playing field and make us all have to make these decisions is better for the game and overall the tournament scene and the feel. I think that once people adjust, it's going to encourage more people out there to participate, because everyone's going to feel like they have a fighting chance, which is in 7th edition. If you weren't playing certain lists, I think that your comfortability with that, knowing you didn't feel like you were going to have that 50-50 coin flip going into every game, and it didn't have anything to do or didn't come down to necessarily player skill in that stuff. It was simply you could be outlisted. Now, we know there's going to be things that are more efficient and better than other things, but it seems like we're all going to be coming to the army list decision table in the same way or on equal footing, which is really nice to see. I think this week's going to be big. Like I mentioned in the last video, we're going to get a lot of news, a lot of information coming this week. I think the podcast, the hour-long recap, or maybe even longer than that this week that you'll see up here on this channel is going to be even chock full of information as we start to get it, play with it, see it in our hands. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Please comment. Can't wait to hear how you guys are adjusting to 8th.